Hello, good evening. I can see that we've still got a few people waiting to join this webinar session on languages and travel and tourism here at Worthing College and Haywards-Heath College. We're just going to leave it, say 30 seconds so people can join in. We can see that the participants are arriving as we speak now, which is fantastic. So I'll give people a little bit of time so they can, we'll give everybody the opportunity to join us so they won't miss out on any of the information. So the session today, well, this evening should be from approximately about 7 o'clock to about 7:40. We're planning for the presentation to be about 30 minutes, and then we'll do some Q&A, some questions at the end as well. So I think we're pretty much there. Maybe we should get going, I think, really now. So first of all, I'd like to give you, offer you a really warm welcome to this virtual open evening event here for Worthing College and also for Haywards-Heath College. My name's Lynn McCracken, and I'm one of the Deputy Heads of Learning here at Worthing College. And within my area, that includes languages and travel and tourism. So it's lovely to be able to welcome you. I know it's a bit different. Normally we'd meet you face to face, whether it be here at Worthing College or at Haywards-Heath College, and we'd be able to meet you. But obviously in this experience, I'm sure that we'll be able to give you all the information that you'll need to make the right choices for you coming to either college. If you do have any questions as we're going along, you'll see at the bottom, there's a chat. And on the chat, that's where you can put any questions if you've got anything that's technical issues. And we've got some people at from the marketing department and the IT department, and they're going to be dealing with those. Also, as you go along, there's a Q&A at the bottom as well. Now, if you put any questions along there, whether it's to do with languages, French or Spanish, or travel and tourism, we've got at the beginning, we're going to have someone, Jemima from Haywards-Heath, and she's going to be responding to any questions about modern foreign languages, French and Spanish. And then I'll be responding to some questions about travel and tourism at the end. And then we'll open up the question and answers as we go along. But the main thing is, we're here to help you and hope that you get as much information as you're going to need to make those choices. So you're going to meet Raquel Rodriguez, who's our Spanish teacher, and Jemima Adele, who's the Spanish teacher at Haywards-Heath, and Claire Potter, who we're lucky enough to have here at Worthing College and Haywards-Heath as our French teacher. So the first person you're going to hear from is Raquel. Well, so yeah, just to clarify. Oh, sorry, Raquel, off you go. Over to you. So next slide, please.
Okay. So hi, hello. My name is Raquel. I'm the Spanish teacher in Worthing College. I'm going to tell you a bit more about our courses here and in Haywards-Heath. So here in Haywards-Heath, we offer French and Spanish A-level. They're both a two-year courses, as all the current A-levels, I believe. So if we go to the next slide, please. I'll tell you a bit more about what does entitle to study a language in college. So, as I just said, we offer French and Spanish in both sides, and you'll be assessed at the end of the second year, like in the current A-level style. So what do we study in French and Spanish? So I'm going to tell you all about the topics a bit, an insight about the topics. So the topics you'll study for both subjects are very similar. They are the same, just depending on the country, of course. You will study family and relationships, like how families are different these days, how were families in the past and how they're now, different types of families, relationships. And while in GCSE, probably you are studying now, you talk about your family, how is your family? How was your family in the past? Now in A-level, you go a bit further and you study like, okay, how family values are in Colombia? How does a family in France is different from a family in another French-speaking country? Yeah, and how in the past we have traditional families and now we have a different types of families. So we are looking at the topics a bit further than you do in GCSE. Also, we talk about cyberspace. That's the current one we're doing at the moment. Internet. What do we use technology for? Dangers of technology, advantages of technology. I would say impacting our lives. Do we use too much, too little? Is it everywhere? We also talk about the impact of technology in our lives. We talk about the rise of minority groups, like how the role of women have changed over the years in the Spanish society, rise of minorities, rise of LGBT groups. In French, you also study about voluntary work, and in the French society, the role of charity organizations. Why do young people want to get involved in charities? Another topic we study is idols and the influence in young people. So it could be music idols, and we can have sports idols, and what work do they do outside, the football pitch, for example. Yeah, they do charity work. How can they influence the life of young people? Music, cinema, in the French music, French cinema. I think that's quite a big topic in French. And in Spanish, we talk about different fiestas, celebrations. In Spain, in South America, we did the Day of the Dead the other day. We did, which is your Halloween. We did how we celebrate that in Mexico and how we celebrate it in Spain. So you're not just learning about the language. We do that, obviously. We do our grammar, the vocabulary, we have to learn all that, but you're also learning about these different cultures, which I think is very exciting, really. So I believe this is an exciting course, I think, and the students do really appreciate learning about other cultures. You will be developing during the lessons, you will developing all the 4 language skills: listening, reading, writing, speaking. And that happens every lesson. Every lesson you have the chance to speak, you have listening, so you are translating, you are reading, so everybody takes part. Yeah, so next slide, please. Okay, so why studying a language level? As I just mentioned, the topics are very up to date, and we believe that they are quite appropriate for your age group. You all have something to say about technology. You all have something to say about idols, music, and you're all interested in what's going on in other countries, like fiesta celebrations. Everybody gets very excited about La Tomatina, for example, for Spain, and they want to know about the film festival in Cannes. So I think it's a good A-level. It's very highly regarded by universities. They know how hard it is to get a good grade in a language, but it's also very rewarding because you are learning lots of things at the same time. And it's an excellent combination with various subjects. Here in Wording and in Hayward Heath, you can have any combination of A-levels. You can do Spanish with music. You can do French with Spanish. We managed to, our timetable allows students that want to do AS French and AS Spanish, so they can do both at the same time, and the following year A2 and A2 Spanish, and they don't clash. And they can do Spanish and PE, they do Spanish and geography, anything works. Yeah. Also, when you are studying Spanish and French, you are developing skills that are transferable to in the future. For when you go to university, if you want employment, you will be in presentations. You learn how to present yourself. You learn how to you be resilient as well. You know how to overcome this. Oh, how hard it is. So you have to overcome these fears. Like, I'm going to say something wrong. No, well, you do presentations with the class. You learn how to give an opinion and how to listen to those opinions. Yeah? So that's very important. In the world of work, very important. Not many people have an A-level in languages. So that will make you different from the rest. So if you go to any job, it will make you really interesting, I suppose, and very valuable. Anything, even working in a theater or a cinema, you'll be the person that can maybe deal with someone coming from abroad and a theater company coming from abroad, and be the one talking to them. So a language is always very valuable anywhere you do. You have contact with Spanish and French native speakers every week, your teachers, your speaking assistants that you see in one-to-ones, and I think it's just great, actually, just to have all this contact. And you can see there that our previous students have really found it very interesting, as you can see there. Some of them just say they don't just study Spanish for the language, but it's a very great way to learn and make it more involved in the global society. It's another student that carry on studying languages in university. She did her third year abroad. She went on holidays. She visited Cuba. No holidays. She went on a long trip. And she worked in the Times that the summer before university in the travel section. So it's very interesting. So next slide, please. Okay. Apart from the topics I mentioned earlier, we also study some cultural topics. You will be studying in AS in the first year. You will be studying a film for Spanish and a film for French. The Spanish one is Volver, that is by Almodóvar, is a Spanish director. The second one is Laen. The French one is Laen. And you will be studying this in the same way that you will be doing kind of film studies. You'll be talking about the color in the films, the topics, the acting. I mean, it's quite challenging, but very rewarding. And then the second year, we do books. We do La Casa de Bernarda Alba, which is a play that we do for Spanish. We're starting this week. And for French, they are doing, as I'm not very good at French, as a secret, like a secret. We write about it, we talk about it, we plan essays together in the class, and that's something the students really value in our latest student voice. That's one of the things they really like, planning essays as a group. I think it helps everybody, and we do that for both, for the film and for the book. And that will be your paper 3, your exam number 3, paper 3, that will be an essay in the film and an essay in the book. That's in the second year. Okay, so next slide, please. The trips. Okay. Due to the current situation, as we all know, we're not being able to offer a trip this year. We are hoping, and we are very positive, that we'll be able to offer you a trip for spring 2020. Well, 21, 22, the following one, not this spring, hopefully, well, we hope we could, but I don't think we can. So we'll be offering a trip for 2022. And very exciting because we are now joining in with Hewosheed, so that will make us, the trips will be more, I don't know how to say this, the more the better, put it that way. More people will join in the trip, and it will be, they will go ahead, definitely will go ahead now. So in the past, we have taken students to Valencia for the Spanish trip, to Barcelona, to Madrid, to Malaga. French students have gone to Paris, they've gone to Disney, they've gone to Paris as a city, they've gone to Nice in the past, and to the south of France. So we just hope that we can offer something like this in 2022 for you. Next slide, please. Okay, where could this course lead you? Okay, many of our students, after doing the A-level, they go and carry on going to university. We have students that are currently in university in studying languages. So for example, I have students from last year that are studying Russian and Spanish in UCL in London, marketing and international relations with Spanish in Exeter. I've got students doing psychology, nothing to do with Spanish, but Spanish made them get there. So in Chichester, law in Cambridge, international relations in King's, European studies with Spanish in King's College. Then we've been sending students to very competitive universities. The same for French. We had last year, one girl decided to go to Paris for university. So she's doing her whole degree in French. So those language degrees are very well respected by employers, and they give you a massive step forward. But you learn in communication skills, and when you can do this in another language, you can do that very well in your own language. So it's highly regarded. Many of our students that I'm talking about, they're taking a degree with a language. They usually have a third year abroad. So that's, as you can imagine, when you are 20, that's the best thing you can do. Just go for a year Erasmus or a year abroad, that's great. Also, gap years, many students have gone a gap year, but students have spent a year in France during the ski season. So they spend the winter there. I've got students that did Spanish and they went to Costa Rica in a conservational trip and they spent part of the gap year there. And also, if you want to go to uni, you can do anything with a language. You can do any course, as you can read there. Music with Spanish, philosophy with Spanish, pure maths with Spanish, history with Spanish, anything goes. So don't think, if you're not sure what to study, I don't think you have to go just for the route of, oh, I'm going to be a translator, I have to study pure just languages. No, you can study anything with a language. The opportunities are just endless. Next slide, please. Okay. If in terms of careers, you go to university, but also talking about careers, the most obvious one is your passport to living and working abroad. We've got students working and living abroad at the moment. They keep in touch and they always say that it's thanks to learning the language that we give them the foundation here, and then they carry on and they move. I just had a message from a previous student just today, and just randomly today. She is having a gap year this year because she wasn't very sure what she wanted to do, and due to the current situation, she just waited. But she's hoping to go in January to work as an au pair in Spain. So that's a way to spend her gap year. Also, you can just do any career: journalism, management, international management. We've got a girl that did French a couple of years ago, and she's working for L'Oreal. She did business studies with French, and she's just working for L'Oreal, and she's doing really well. Then, of course, you can have a language-specific careers. You can be a translator, an interpreter, that they're really always needed everywhere. You can be a teacher. You can work in the travel industry. Some of our students are actually, I've got a couple doing travel and tourism with Link, and it goes quite well. I mean, they like the combination. Yeah, and as many students will tell you, when they study a language, they open their mind much more. They get much more open-minded than before. They know, I don't know, they know about other cultures. They know about how other people think, other opinions, very different. When they watch the films, and no films you normally go and watch your films, your friends here, they're very different, and is obviously a great asset to have in this competitive job market. Yeah, and the next slide now, we are going to move on to Claire, who is going to talk about the facilities in Worthing.
Okay, so hello, my name is Claire Pontet. I'm the French teacher at Worthing College and Haywards Heath College. So at Worthing College, we have two base rooms, one for Spanish and one for French. And at Haywards Heath, we have one base room where we do our lessons. So both Worthing and Haywards Heath have one language lab with computers and headphones. This is where students usually have access to other resources, for example, videos or audio documents. So they really can work independently in this language lab. Half of the lesson time will take place in the language lab. So it's a time when, again, we have access to more exciting resources, some really brand new video clips or music sometimes as well. Also, we have a dedicated room for speaking sessions with your speaking assistant. Yeah, that's it. So for the speaking session, it's going to be with your language assistant or your language teacher. Next slide, please. About the student voice. So this is a video we have recorded this, so feel free to watch it later. So here at Haywards Heath College and Worthing College, we want to know the students' opinion about their learning experience in our colleges. So they have to answer some questionnaire throughout the year. We also have class reps. Every student has a voice. Like we really want to know how do they feel, how do they feel like they'll learn better, and we take their feedback into consideration to offer them the best learning environment that we can. The feedback we have received from previous students are very positive because they mention their progress, a friendly and supportive atmosphere, and a great variety of resources. Next slide, please. Can I get the next slide? Thank you. About enrichment. So at Haywards Heath and Worthing College, we offer some support sessions in Spanish and in French. So within these sessions, we get to revise what we've done in the lesson, we get to revise student knowledge, and we can really explain more deeply what we have done in the lesson so that everyone has the same opportunity to learn and to practice. We also have French and Spanish lunch. About the speaking session that I was mentioning before. So these sessions are very valuable for the students because speaking is one of the big parts of learning a language, because obviously it's great to be able to use the grammar or to have some knowledge, but we think that it's very important to be able to speak a language. So in order to do that, we have one session a week. It's 30 minutes. So you spend your session with a language assistant or your teacher, and you talk about what you've done in a lesson, you learn more about examples, and you really get a chance to be prepared to your speaking exam at the end of your A-level. Every year we plan a trip to a theater in London to see the Spanish play that the students will learn in the lesson. So they go to the theater to see La Casa de Bernarda Alba. We also do a trip at the British Film Institute in London. So that's a study day, and we learn more about cinema, French and Spanish cinema. So you learn about the film in the lesson, as we say earlier, and then you can go to the British Film Institute to get more information about the cinema, the film, the actors. So it's really extending what you learn in a lesson. Next slide, please. So here are some questions that are really important for the A-level languages. So if you want to get the chance to learn the language at Haywards Heath or Worthing College, you will need to get a minimum of 4 in English language and maths. You will also need to get a 6 in the relevant language. So if you want to study Spanish, you're gonna have to get a 6 at your GCSE Spanish. And then you're gonna also need a minimum 5 GCSE grades between 4 and 9. Is there a big gap from GCSE? Yes, there's a big gap, but just like every A-level course. So you will get the chance to have a transition from your GCSE to your A-level. And finally, you're gonna have 4 hours of lesson per week in languages, but then you're expected to work 6 hours outside of the classroom. So in these 6 hours, you're going to have to do your ISPs, which is work that you have to do independently in order to improve and to achieve your goals. And then it can be watching a movie in Spanish or in French. It can be reading article. It's really independent work and being able to learn by yourself and to get more and more example or knowledge that you can share in the lesson. So now I'm going to pass on to Lynn, who's going to talk about the travel and tourism course.
So thank you, Claire, and thank you, Raquel. At the moment, we only offer travel and tourism at Worthing College. But obviously, if you bear with me for the travel and tourism, and we'll answer some questions at the end about all subjects. So we offer 2 courses here at Worthing College for travel and tourism. We offer a level 3 course, which is the equivalent of an A level, and that's 2 years. And at the end of that time, students come out with the equivalent of 2 A levels. We also offer what we call a level 2 diploma in travel and tourism, and that's a 1-year course, which is really successful. And that's the equivalent of 4 GCSEs. And that's for those students that don't quite get their 5 GCSEs, that they need to take a level 3 course, and they do that for a year. If they progress well with us, they can go on and do a wide range of different level 3 courses. So next slide, please. So the level 3 diploma course, it's new to us this year. So the course has changed slightly, like a lot of people who offer this qualification around the country. And in the first year, the students actually cash in an A level, which is fantastic because they can see their progress as they're going along. They know at the end of that first year what they've got. It gets banked and then they carry on for the second year. So over the 2 years, there's 8 units in total. And I'm going to speak to you a little bit about them. In the first year, they are mainly internally assessed and externally assessed. And in the second year, they're mainly internally assessed. And by that, I mean, the students do the coursework, we mark it, and send it off to the exam board. It's fantastic. I'm an examiner for travel and tourism for the old specifications. Kaylee, who also teaches travel and tourism, an examiner for geography. So we know exactly what students need to do to get the right grades. So next slide, please. So this is what our first year students are doing at the moment on that. It's called the extended certificate, the first year of the diploma course. So at the moment, Katie's teaching the unit 1, which is the world of travel and tourism. And you can see the little star next to that, because that's actually an exam. So those students will be taking an exam in January. And each week, as Claire sort of alluded to, the fact they've got independent study. So each week they're learning definitions, they're doing little mini exams, questions. So by the time they do that exam in January, and they will have done a couple of past papers, they'll be so ready to sit that exam. Okay, so that's the first one. The unit that I'm teaching at the moment is Principles of Marketing in Travel and Tourism. And I've just moved on to the students. We're actually looking at 2 visitor attractions, Fisher's Farm and the Sea Life Centre in Brighton. And we're looking at how they carry out their marketing and what makes it successful. And the second part of that assignment, they're going to be producing a promotional campaign. After carrying out some market research, they're going to produce a promotional campaign for Fisher's Farm. It's going to be a Christmas campaign for them, so it's fantastic. And they're going to do all the promotional materials and they're going to plan it. Another opportunity, you can also see we do global destinations, finding out about destinations in the world, but that's also planning travel itineraries. And it's an exam, but it's actually like a timed one. It's a controlled condition. So we get a case study a couple of weeks beforehand. We look through it. We can always predict the questions. And then the students have like a controlled assessment in the class. And I'm going to do visitor attractions with them as well. So you'll see there's 4 units, 2 are externally assessed and the 2 are coursework. In both of those, you'll get lots of support as you go along. So if like in marketing, each little mini task the students hand in to me and I'll give them lots of detailed feedback and then they can make changes. Okay, students who do travel and tourism course like the fact they get support and they can get feedback and then they can obviously submit the best work possible. So next slide, please. These are the units that we'll be doing in the second year again. You can see that there's some really lovely practical units on there as well. So I'll be doing customer service. Before I went into teaching, I used to be an overseas rep for First Choice, so part of the TUI group. We get students in there still to help us do some of these role plays and practical skills. So on customer service, we'll be mystery shoppers. And we'll visit an attraction. In the past, we've done the Sea Life Centre in Brighton and the Royal Pavilion. We've been mystery shoppers and they have to write a report up afterwards. And the second bit is where they're holiday reps and they're selling excursions and dealing with complaints, and they're working their travel agent and they're selling holidays. So really practical. And we get ex-students in to help us out with those. We've got ex-cabin crew, ex-travel agents who come in and they do the role plays with them and they tell them exactly what to do. We'll also do tourism enterprises, which is they literally decide on what business they want to set up, and they set up their own travel and tourism business. And that might be whether it's a tour operator, it might be in the past someone's done like an event, like a big travel event. So again, really practical. Current issues is when they choose their own current issues. This is the second year unit. It's like a mini dissertation, really. So it prepares them for going to university. And I'm assuming that lots of students who in this year will probably be looking at like the impact of like the present, COVID situation on the travel and tourism industry, or terrorism. And the unit that I'm definitely going to teach, which is one of my favorites, is recruitment. So we look at all the different jobs you can do in the travel and tourism industry. I've got students who are working all over the world, some still local, some are all over the country, some are all over the world. And we look at the jobs available, and then they have to apply for a job. In the past, we've got them to either apply for cabin crew or a resort rep for TUI. And again, we've brought students in who have actually done the interviews, who are doing those jobs. But they do the recruitment bit, and then we ask them the questions. So again, you can see from that, they're very practical units. So it's not just the teachers doing the talking, the students are making notes. It's very much them doing it on their own or as a group. So the customer service one, they're doing role plays together. Okay, next slide, please. Now, the level 2 travel and tourism course, some of the students who are taking that this year know that they want to go and do different A-levels next year. So some are already saying, I want to do criminology next year and I want to do design. But again, they haven't quite got their 5 GCSEs. So this is a great grounding for those students. If they're successful on this course, they can pick the A-levels next year. Students who I did the travel and tourism course got great success on this, which means students stay on the course and they achieve. And there's a variety of different units on there. Again, very practical. There's a couple of exams on there, but they're multiple choice. Okay, so they're not formally written exams. But we've got we've got 5 students this year who did level 2 in the advanced travel and tourism course. We've got some who've gone off to employment and some who are doing other A-level or BTEC subjects across the college. You can take maths and English alongside that as well. Okay, so next slide, please. When we talk about what's the highlights of being a travel and tourism student, I would always say it's their transferable skills. Now, sometimes students don't know what they want to do, and who would at 16? So they'll take travel and tourism, which is worth 2 subjects, and they can pick one other subject alongside it. So, not everybody necessarily wants to go into the travel and tourism industry, or they might not go straight into it. So, they're doing teamwork. They have to work together. Their travel and tourism is 8 hours a week because it's a double subject. So, they are working together and they're doing research together and teamwork, but independent research. So, you'll have to find the information out yourself with a bit of help. IT, they're doing PowerPoint presentations at the moment, and they're doing flyers to sell their excursions. And, they are going to have to stand up and do like presentations and things like that, which are amazing skills, whether you're going to go into any job or university. They do progress into employment and they do progress into higher education. At the moment, Kaylee and myself are supporting 4 of our travel and tourism students who definitely want to do a travel management course. There's one who wants to go into teaching, and she's doing travel and tourism in English language. And we're helping them with their personal statements, and we're looking at what universities they might want to go to. And another girl who's wanting to go on and do a business management course. So they can go into both. And employment as well, we start looking at jobs together. When companies start recruiting, we'll do that together with them. And also we've got a fantastic link with Classic Collection, and they do a degree apprenticeship as well. So we support students through that. Next slide, please. One of the things we do offer for students is a week's work experience. Now we're hoping we've postponed it this year till March when things sort of obviously calm down more. But students, again, doing a week's work experience, we've had students, one of Raquel's students from last year did Spanish with us. She was actually Italian. She did travel and tourism, and she did her placement at Amex in Brighton. And the fact that she could speak Spanish, she was Italian and did travel and tourism, made her really employable. But we've had students who've gone to Classic Collection, tour operators, visitor attractions and things like that. So there's lots of great things. Links with employers, we get them in to do talks and things like that. So again, lots of links with airlines and tour operators. So students see it in like real life, which I think is really important. Next slide, please. I won't go through all of these, but we do lots of day trips. Okay, Thorpe Park, we'd normally go to Thorpe Park for Fright Night, which is a nightmare for me, but students love it, but obviously it was a bit of a challenge. We have to go to trips and we have to get people in because assignments are based on organisations. I know for visitor attractions, we're going to do RSPB and we're going to do the Sea Life Centre because students need to look at both, so that's great. I've been to Disney Resort Paris, no word of a lie, about 10 times. Okay, so it's normally in December time. It's a national conference. The students spend 4 days there, a day in Paris. It's a national one, it's great. Mallorca and Gran Canaria, we've done before. We've got them working as holiday reps. We've got them working as resort reps for the day with TUI. And as Raquel sort of said earlier on, I tend to do a Spanish trip with Raquel, and we've done Malaga, Valencia, all over. Okay, so next slide, please. We've got 3 classrooms. It's a base room. There's laptops in there. There's computers in there. We've got iPads, things to set up, all of our resources in the room. So at the end of our corridor, it is travel and tourism basic. We've got an amazing, humongous map on the wall, and this is their base. We've got a little room where they do their role plays. So yeah, ideal opportunities for the travel and tourism students to do their work. Next slide, please. I've sort of alluded to this, but where it can, lead you to, it can go direct into employment, and students start off on doing one job and then they go. I've had students who've started off going to work in Disney in America for a year, and then they've just not stopped. And then they're working on cruise ships, and then they're working hotels in New Zealand. One of the lads is working for a really famous golf course in Scotland at the moment. He's in charge of the whole of front of house, Carnoustie Golf Course. But we've got people who are working for airlines. So yes, you can do that. Other industries, sometimes students go into customer service or business related things. Degree apprenticeships, which is a fantastic opportunity for students at the moment. As I said, higher education. But we also have students who do travel and tourism and go into other areas, whether that be teaching, law, business, dance, anything. And I've put on the bottom there about, remember that those level 2 students who want to do that 1-year course can go on and do level 3 courses afterwards. Next slide, please. This is going to be up, this is going to be recorded so you can have a look. I think the biggest things that students say is how much they enjoy the support from teachers, the fact they make friends because they've got 8 hours together and they're doing teamwork and they're doing projects together. And it's hard, it's a lot of work. It's lots of coursework outside of lessons, but they really enjoy that. But they like doing it at their own pace. Okay, so they can go and do things here. We've got laptops at college that they can go and sit in the learning zone and do coursework. But yeah, it's practical, it's fun. They make lots and lots of friends as well. And they know that it helps them get jobs as well. Next slide. Just wanted to stress as well that the travel and tourism level 3 course is worth 2 courses. So you do 1 other A level, and it will be any subject you want to do. When we're doing the timetable, we make sure that students can pick what they, and we've moved blocks around at the last minute to accommodate students that want to do it. Okay, and students who haven't quite got their maths and English, they could also take that as well. We don't require students to have their maths and English to do travel and tourism, because they could be a committed student and love the subject, but not quite get their maths or not quite get their English. Okay, so we'll look at that on an individual basis. Okay, so next slide, please. I just wanted to open up the Q&A, if that's okay. I have been answering some questions as we've gone along, and I think we've got some questions here about, there was one, I think that it says on the thing, it says that it's been done, but I think Raquel alluded to it, and I'm going to pass it over to Raquel for a bit. Can you do French and Spanish? Yes, you can, because when I do the blocking, I make sure that students can do French and Spanish. And we've always had students that do both subjects as well. We've got 2 students this year that are doing French and Spanish. And we had a student last year who did French and Spanish who's gone off to a university. I'm just going to double check before I go on, before I pass it on to Raquel to ask questions, to see if there's any other questions that are more to travel and tourism. So Raquel, can I open up for you to answer any of the other questions, if that's okay?
That's fine. Yeah, I can open it. I've got it on my computer as well. All the open questions, yeah?
Yep.
So, is A-level a big step from GCSE? Well, Yes, but any A level is a big step from GCSE. It's not any higher, and it's not any harder than any other A level. I suppose the challenge is just for every subject, but yeah, it's a big step, but not difficult. It's not difficult. It's not impossible, but if you work hard, you can get it. What grades we're looking, as Claire mentioned earlier, you will need a 6 in the relevant language. So you want to do Spanish, you need a 6 in Spanish or in French, and you also need maths and English. You need 5 GCSE, 5 GCSE grades on any GCSE combination, and 2 of those have to be English and maths. Yeah. So if you really want to do Spanish or French, I would recommend you to start practicing those listening, those reading, those speaking in French and Spanish, so you can get that 6. Yeah. So then the gap, the jump won't be that as big as we think it is. What enrichment? I think Claire mentioned it earlier. We do support sessions. On top of your lessons, you have support sessions, half an hour support session, and that's timetable for the students that need to. And also we are very approachable. So whenever you have a doubt or anything, you can come to the office and we can just have a little chat with you and put you up to date with everything. Other enrichment. Those day trips we do to London. In the past, I've been to London, and hopefully in the future as well. Hopefully in the spring we'll be able to go back to the theatre to watch the Spanish play. We'll be able to go to the BFI just to do those study days that Claire mentioned, to learn about the director you're studying, the films you are doing. So all those things we have them planned. Hopefully they will go ahead. And when you come in 2021, fingers crossed, everything will go back to normal, so we can resume all that. Yeah. Yes, this subjects in general. That's what I choose for A-level. Impact your subjects. I can choose a university. For example, if you do a language, no, not really. Unless, obviously, if you want to study medicine, you should be studying some science and some topics, some subjects related to that. But no. If you study a language, you can do mainly anything apart from something extremely specific. If you only study languages, you can go and do maths. But if you study languages and maths, you can do languages and maths. Yeah, I have a student that study languages, maths, and physics here, went on to do law in Cambridge. So it's a very good combination. The universities value diversity, and they value that you do a language which is hard. So they know how hard it is to get that A or that B or that C, even in Spanish and in French. So that you can do anything, mainly anything. Obviously, always check, look at what degree you want to do if you're planning to do anything, and see if you need it. And another of my students last year, she went off to be an architect. So yeah, Spanish and French go with anything.
Could I just jump in there? Because
yeah.
Unfortunately, I know people have probably got plans now. We're sort of running over. I am answering some of the questions on the chat as we go along. What we can do is we can do like a frequently asked questions sheet that we will continue to answer these questions, because we will sort of close the session down. I will do some more travel and tourism questions as we go along, but also you can contact the college as well. If you ask a travel and tourism or a languages specific question, it will come to me if it's travel and tourism, and it will go to Jemima at Haywards Heath, or Claire here, or Raquel. So, or it'll come to me and I'll pass it on to the right person. So Deputy Head of Learning for this area, it will come to me and I will pass it on. So I'll answer this last one on travel and tourism, and then I think that's okay if we can agree, ladies, if we can answer questions after. It also might give you the chance to actually think of any questions afterwards. It's one of those things, when you think, oh, I wish I'd asked that. Okay, so if you answer a question, it's got the information on there, it's got the contact details on there, it will come through to me and I'll make sure that your question gets answered by the right person. Okay. So thank you so much for spending time with us this evening. Like I said, it's a real shame that we can't speak to you face to face. We do, if things open up, we do always do in the summer term like a taster day for students, and that's when you can come in, and hopefully we'll be in a position to be able to do that. Let's wait and see. But please ask any other questions and we'll get back to you. Okay, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you.